Microsoft Ortadoğu Afrika Bölge Başkanı Sayın Ali Faramawy'yi konuşmasını yapmak üzere sahneye davet ediyorum.
It's an absolute honor and a pleasure to be with you here. I think I have to apologize for two things. Number one is we did not give you a break. We have been just going on and on. There's a party outside almost. Like everyone is outside having a bit of a rest. So if you feel like you want to stand up or stretch or do anything, it's completely up to you. The other thing is I also apologize that after a very long time in Turkey, I still do not speak Turkish. In fact, in a meeting earlier today with His Excellency the Minister, Mr. Binali Yildirim, and who I have met before, and then he asked me, but how long have you been in Turkey? I was shy to tell him that it's more than 11 years, so I just said 10. Okay. It's a white lie. It's okay? It's not meant to be anything bad. Turkey is a very, very special country. I'm sure you know that, but to me personally, to my family, it's a very, very special place. But I would say also it has this very unique blend between old and new, between very contemporary and very authentic, between very conservative and very liberal. And in a way, I would say many of the, probably the most and the best aspect of it is its people. We have a very young population. I know you heard that a lot. But probably what's more important is how ready this population is to learn and how ambitious this population is to have better days in front of them. I think despite all the different views, political, cultural, natural, and so on, among all different parts of the Turkish society, I think the one thing in common is everyone has the ambition for Turkey to become a much better place. But speaking about mission and ambition, and I know Murad touched on this in his start, when he said that as a company, what we want to do is we want to empower every person and every company on the planet to be able to achieve more. And it's a big statement. It's a nice statement. I relate to it personally. But I think the question is, what do you do from a technology point of view in order to make that happen? And in a way, what does this mean for Turkey and some of the big points or the big question marks that we all have? And as a company, I think we believe that some of the dreams that we had tomorrow, the dreams we had yesterday, and some of the challenges we have yesterday are today enabled, or in a way conquered by technology. Today what we want to do is we want to do things quickly. We want to do things to scale, in a way very big when we need to, and smaller when we have to. I think 2008 and the financial crisis the world seen in 2008 reminded people that growth doesn't just happen like that. It sort of like happens like this, a bit like a tilted sine wave, until it reaches a level where, hopefully it all trends up. And therefore, the ability to scale up when things are going well and scale down if you are under pressure is something important. So speed, scale, and also cost, you want to pay as you go. In a way today, you need to think of, from one side, of utility computing, or computing as a utility. You expect when you go and switch on the light, that the light will switch on. You don't think, where is the nearest generator? You don't think, where are the cables? You don't think even what is the source of the energy. Was it coal? Was it water? Was it solar? You think of it as available to you anytime, anywhere. You also think you don't just buy electricity, you buy what you consume. You only pay for what you use. So, and you expect the availability and the cost and the pay as you go to just get better and better with time. And in a way, this scale, speed, cost, pay as you go, when you put it all together, this is cloud computing. And in Microsoft, we are trying to build, or we claim we have the smartest and most complete cloud computing platform that allows you to use what your basic workloads, your development tests, your storage, your disaster recovery, without having to build data centers and hire people and pay CapEx, capital expenditure, very early on, without necessarily having to do that. But we also believe that in addition to this utility computing, there are very, very smart and very intelligent and very crucial elements that technology can allow us to do. Because today you can collect technology from many sources. Some people think that the most kind of like widely used form of technology devices are the mobile phones. And it's true, because there's few billions of those in the world. But Internet of Things is going to be much, much bigger than all of those mobile phone technologies, availabilities. These are the sensors that are going to be connected to your body, to your clothes, to the land around you, to the field and the farm, that continuously send data to the internet. And in a way, what you want, in addition to just collecting this data, you want the big data capabilities to be able to store, process, and analyze this data. So Internet of Things, data collection in hyperscale, big data, but then you want to analyze it. So advanced analytics tools, you try and analyze the data that you already have and learn from the past, but you also want to predict into the future. So newer concepts like machine learning, these are things that are available today. These are things that we try to put into our smart cloud ambitions or our smart cloud offerings. We also think of productivity and business processes. So we think about ways to make things and teams, to make tasks and teams much more effective. Whether you were an information worker in a bank or in a government agency, or whether you were a farmer or a maintenance engineer in a municipality. And the way we do that is by making our applications available on all mobile devices, regardless of the type of the device. By actually making big developments and innovation in the way we write, we create documents, we share documents, we collaborate on them. In the way technologies like CRM, whether it's customer relationship management or citizen relationship management or complaint management tools, or ERP, whether it's only for an element of billing or for an end-to-end government resource planning system, we put them all together. And we have trials and experiences that go, as I said, beyond the information worker to actually places where you have farmers connecting together with banks and insurance companies in order to provide and get low-cost loans, to even manless environments where we have elevators sending signals to the mother company or a central maintenance unit in order to in order to pass data on the status of every elevator and how that can be and whether that needs preventive maintenance or not. So it's productivity sort of like across, I'd say, teams, individuals, and even things, as in the word Internet of Things. And finally, a different era of personal computing where you get different varieties or forms of devices, different tablets and two-in-ones, very, very large screens and touch screens, augmented reality like HoloLens, and so on, being, again, put together in order to allow you a full, complete experience. And in a way, the thinking is there is no excuse. You put all this technology together, and you put smart people and start thinking of the different problems and the different issues, and you basically find solutions to it. And at the heart of this, and I know that's one of the things that a lot of people in many countries, not only Turkey, think of, is the whole issue of data residency, where is the data, privacy, security, and so on. And I think the world is also waking up to the fact that having the data on my own premise as a company or a government does not necessarily mean that the data is secure. The reality is people who try and address security would go after it regardless of whether this was on public cloud or if this was on private cloud, or even in a very, very small server under the desk or even inside the safe. In fact, the world yesterday or the day before yesterday woke up to this whole Panama Papers with all sorts of data and information and so on being leaked, primarily because of insider jobs, not because of a breach in cloud security, for example. And I think the big thing here is I think there are good reasons for a lot of people to think of keeping their data within the country, within the domain. And regardless whether we as a company partner with you on public cloud, private cloud, or hybrid cloud, somewhere in between, utilizing both, there are many things that we have to think of. There's an element of trust that has to actually feature in the element. And trust doesn't come just from a word saying, trust me, I'm good, or trust me, I'm Microsoft. In fact, it has to come through testing, through trials. It's something that we know that we have to earn, and we know that you have to investigate and look at. But we are also clear that we make very, very clear promises. Very, very clear about data privacy. So basically what the data is stored for and what it actually means. Very, very clear about compliance with the rule of the land. So if we're dealing with Turkey, we have to deal with data compliantly with the Turkish law. If we're dealing with Ireland, we have to deal with data compliantly with the Irish law. Absolute transparency, particularly when it comes to consumer data, on where the data has come from, what is being used for, but then more importantly is the most advanced, secure environment where this all sort of like is put together and comes together. So as I said, 4 elements: privacy, compliance, transparency, and security. And when we think about security again, there's almost like 3 elements, 3 things that you try and build into your environment. It's to try and build the most secure system from the beginning in order to be able to be in the right, how should I say that, protect mood. So you are able to protect from the start. But you should also not, even if you think you've built the most secure setups, you also need to be able to continuously check in order to be able to detect if anything has gone wrong. So protect is one big element, detect is another element, but then what do you do when you have the combo of protect and detect? You need to be able to respond. You need to be able to respond fast. And response does not only mean getting rid of vulnerabilities or fixing an issue, but it's actually learning from that so that it does not happen again, and actually sharing the learning with others, even your own competitors, even people that you don't deal with, but sharing that with others so that it does not happen. It does not happen to others. It's a big, big responsibility. It is in a way the new war. Okay? So as I said, it's the protect, detect, and respond. And the response is not only about a cleanup. It's you clean up, you learn why it happened, you try and fix that so that it doesn't happen again, and you share. And that's why even for us, our own security framework also includes 3 big elements. One is the environment that we build right from the beginning in terms of how we write software and how the software is designed, how the architecture is put together, and what it actually means. But in addition to that, it's a set of services, professional services, that can actually be deployed based on our experience, on what we learned from others, at your environment in order to make that happen. We actually invested ourselves in a cyber crime prevention center that actually allows us to have first-hand experience and knowledge of what is actually going on, and how do we learn to actually detect and respond very, very quickly, in addition to the protection elements. So building a secure environment from the start, a set of professional services in order to allow you to customize the work and so on for you and build it for the environment that you need. And last but not least, as I said before, is partnerships. Partnerships and sharing with people who are in similar situations, who have the same interest, who want to make information technology alive, who want to make it also secure. Look, there's so many things that our countries need. There's so many things that Turkey, despite, as I said, how special and modern it is, the ambitions are still bigger. And the quest of the Turkish people to have this country even continue on an even more special and a better path is very big. There's a huge room still in order to improve information flow within government, from data accuracy to data sharing to decision making to machine learning to even to social media analysis, to detecting what people and what citizens need, to respond to them quickly. There's a lot that can be done using information technology. There's a lot that can be done in the education system to turn our kids from passive recipients of curriculum that comes from the teacher, or even comes from a tablet, by the way, because it doesn't matter whether the teacher is giving you the curriculum or the curriculum happens to be on a tablet. There's a different way of turning the student into an active pursuer of knowledge. You know, this proactivity to start with, this connection with others to start with, teamwork at very, very early age, ambassadorial skills to connect with children or friends from all over the world, and not just talk about, you know, the last goal that Messi scored, or, you know, the last Batman versus Superman or whatever. There's also other things about the country itself, about the culture, about the habits, and about understanding other people's cultures and habits and so on. There's a lot of room in order to use information technology to get small businesses online. There's a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurs. I mean, the recent law that was approved in Turkey for angel investors that gives tax breaks to people who will invest certain money in new venues, and the impact of that technology is just beautiful. It's amazing, and I'm seeing a lot of action on that, and I'm seeing a lot of activity in that. The opportunities on e-commerce and an e-commerce economy as such, and more e-companies creating incredible wealth, services, logistics work internally in the country without even having to export gasoline or, I don't know, expensive building material or things like this. There's a lot that can be done here. A lot of ideas also can come into how to use public cloud and private cloud together. Data classification, keeping the bulk of the data on public cloud because it's cheaper and faster, and keeping the certain keys or indices and so on private cloud, and using modern tools to actually present both together so that we basically get the benefits of public cloud along with the requirements that you want on privacy and security. I can go on, and I think you will have the opportunity later in the day to see different solutions and different discussions about those. So I don't want to go longer into that. But I'm very honored with your presence. I'm very happy to be in your country. I'm going to be supporting Turkey in Euro 2016 in a month and a half time. You need to promise me that you'll find a way somehow to support Egypt in Africa 2016, which is going to be happening also later. And by the way, you don't have an excuse because you can find it on the internet, but it's also on Eurosport, which is available on DigiTurk, DSmart, and TV Boo. Okay? Thank you very much. Have a great day, and thanks again.
Sayın Farami'ye değerli ve keyifli paylaşımlar için çok teşekkür ediyoruz.